Hey everybody, this is the Marine. One of the greatest resources that we have is water. It is said a person can survive without food up to 30 to 40 days as long as they're hydrated. But without water, a person can survive only 3 to 4 days on average. The Bible will use an analogy of water as life, and rightfully so. Most of us are used to getting our water from the faucet or purchasing a bottle of water. But when we're out on a backpacking trip or out in the wilderness, it's almost impossible to carry enough water to properly hydrate you through the duration of the trip. Though I've seen people try, and I believe the reason why is because people are afraid of getting water from the creeks, the rivers, the lakes, the beaver ponds, and they're afraid of getting sick, and even worse, what it'll taste like. But what they fail to realize is, where do you think your water comes from? Trust me, it's not manufactured. It all comes from the same place, either as purified or filtered, or both. Over the many years of my traveling, either being in the jungles of the Far East or the untouched wilderness of North America, I have tried many different types and methods of purifying or filtering water, and I'd like to share with you what I believe is the best system to get clean, clear, sparkly, tasty water. First of all, I like to start off saying I prefer filtered water over purified water. And some of the reasons are, when I come to a water source and it's real muddy or it's full of tannin, which is fermented organic material that is created by the breakdown of vegetation. When the water passes over and through this material, it takes on a yellow to amber color. With a filter, it will take out most of that color and also the taste. Also, when you treat water with chemicals or a SteriPen, but without it being filtered, you're going to be drinking all those little dead critter bodies floating around in the water. So with that being said, if you're going to get your water from the stream or a creek, always try to get it at the beginning where the water source begins, like a bubbling spring coming out of the ground or water coming out of rocks or a ledge. Now there's many different types of filters on the market today, like the drink-through filter, the pump filter, the gravity filter, and the squeeze-through filter. Now the system that I now use is capable of doing 3 of those 4, but I mainly use it for a gravity filter or a squeeze bag filter. So let me show you the system that I put together that I think is very efficient. First and most important part of this system is the filter. Over the years, you guys, I used to take the lightest piece of gear available. It would have to be efficient, but I wasn't worried about that, but it was the lightest. Nowadays, I try to look for the most efficient piece of gear and try to keep it as light as possible. For example, like the Sawyer Mini. They are very small for packing and lightweight. They weigh around 2 ounces, 56 grams, and they're very inexpensive. After using them for a few years, I switched back to the Sawyer 0.1 filter. Even though it's a little bigger and heavier, instead of 2 ounces, it's 3 ounces, which is 77 grams. It is by far way more efficient. Let me explain. With the Sawyer Mini, even though it's lighter and smaller than the 0.1 filter, when you hook the bag up to this filter, you hold it upside down over the water bottle, you have to force that water through this. It will not flow freely like the Sawyer 0.1 filter. So they won't work as a gravity filter. And when you use them as a squeeze bag filter, you really have to roll it up and push a lot of pressure on there to get that water to flow out of that filter. Which means time consuming. And when the temperatures are cold and the water is cold and you're trying to roll that bag up and your hands against that bag, your hands will become cold. A year or so, Sawyer came out with a filter called the Micro, and they're just the same as the Mini. They don't flow well, I don't recommend them. But with the Sawyer one, and there's other companies that make filters like this, I highly recommend this because when you put it on the bag, you don't really have to squeeze it. You just hold the bag over the water bottle and it flows so freely. And they make an excellent choice for a gravity filter. These filters will remove 99.9999%
That's a lot of nines.
of bacteria, giardia, or protozoa. Always allow the water to run through the filter till it comes out clear before filling the bottle. Now for gathering water to run through your filter, Sawyer will include this bag. They either come in 16, 32, or 64 ounce bags, and these things are very inefficient. Matter of fact, they're really bad. I don't recommend these. They'll either rip very easily, or when you try to get water in them, the hole is so small, trying to scoop the water is almost impossible. It'll take you a long time to fill even this little bag. Now, a bag I used for many years is a Snell Canteen bag. It's a wide mouth, and you can see the opening is much larger, and you could scoop water fairly easy in there, but you had to have this adapter on there. It's from JetFlow to screw on the Nalgene bag. And then on top you would have threads to screw on the filter. Now these bags work pretty good. You could collect water fairly easy. They hold a large amount of water, especially if you had more than one person. But the negative on this is that they're fairly heavy and bulky, and also within a year they would start leaking. You'd be on a trip and all of a sudden they'd spring a leak. Oh well. Now for the last bag, which is my all-time favorite bag, is from a company called Knox Outdoor. And this is the Vecto 2 liter, which is 70 ounces. And this is a collapsible bag, which is a dual opening system where you have the wide end to collect water and the narrow end where you can hook your filter up to. To use these bags, you first take out the slider which seals the wide end. You open the bag, which makes a huge opening. Swipe the bag in the water. These fill up so fast and easy. There are times where you can fill the 2 liter bag with just one swipe in the water. You want to make sure that you fold this red side, the red color plastic inside, where it will expose the ridges on both sides. That will allow the slider to slide on easily to secure. If the ridges are inside, it will not secure the bag. Now these bags weigh 2.5 ounces, which is 76 grams. They're BPA free. They're made out of an FDA approved ETPU material, which is a bridge between plastic and rubber, which makes them very durable. I've had this bag for over 3 years now and yet to have it leak. The Knox company claims that you could take a person that's 220 pounds, fill this bag up with water, step on it, and it will not spring a leak. Let's see how this system will work with this bag and the filter in a squeeze bag situation. Now to use this bag as a gravity filter, you first fill the bag up, you take a filter, you attach it to the bottom of the bag, a hose to the filter, and then what you want to do, you guys, is on the end of the bag is a loop, and you connect a carabiner or cordage, and you hang this bag about head level, and you let gravity do all the work. So let's see how this is done. Now, one on the trail in the backwoods, you should always backflush your filter every couple times of usage. Now, Sawyer gives you this syringe that's huge and heavy and bulky to backflush the filter. But let me show you a device that I use to backflush, which is so much lighter and smaller. So you first get this bottle adapter. It's from Bat Stove. It's right around $5. And next you get a bottle cap, and this is from a Smart Bottle. And you drill a hole, which is about, I'd say 11/16. And you take that gizmo and you put it through that hole. Then you take the hose that comes from Sawyer Filter. I cut this one about 3 inches, which is 7 centimeters. And you put that right over that nozzle. To use it to backflush your filter, take your water bottle, like the Smart Water bottle, that has clean filtered water in it. Then you screw the adapter on the water bottle, attach the plastic hose to the filter, then squeeze the water bottle to force water through the filter. Continue to squeeze water through it till it comes out clean. Now you're good to go. Now another thing I add to the Sawyer Point 1 is a hose washer with a screen on it. On the end where you connect to the water bag, just push them on the intake end, which will basically stop any large particles coming in there. I will filter water in some of these beaver ponds, and you never know what's inside those beaver ponds, all that funk in there. So I like to have that screen on the end of there. Now, one thing I suggest when you get back is use a syringe and backflush that filter many, many times until the water comes out crystal clear. Some people will use bleach, 1 drop of bleach in a cup that's diluted to clean it out. I don't like to do that. I don't want any chemicals in my filter. But another thing I like to add is when you dry them out, because you don't want to get any mold in there, I like to take this aerator filter from a fish tank. I use this to dry out all the bags, the bottles, and the filter. The filter you just attach to the nozzle. Now to go over how I use the system. If I'm going on a backpacking trip where I'm putting on a lot of miles, I'm going to take 1 bag, 1 filter, and a small backflusher. Now if I'm doing a trip where I'm not doing too many miles, I'll take 2 bags with me. Now if I'm going to take it to use as a gravity filter, I'll take 2 2-liter bags or 1 3-liter bag. The filter, the hose, the backflusher, and also the carabiner with the cordage on it to hang the bag. Well, I hope you found this episode to be helpful and insightful. And if you have any questions, please write them down below. I'd love to hear from you. This is The Marine. Thank you for watching, and God bless.